Hey everybody, it's the Van Show! Welcome, welcome, welcome! Today we have a very special guest, Miss Cynthia Levinson. Say hello, Cynthia!
Hello, everybody.
Hey! We're so happy to have you on the show.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you, Van.
Yeah, well thanks for coming. So we're going to start off with a couple questions, just getting to know you stuff.
Okay.
So tell us where you're from.
I am from Austin, Texas, and also Boston, Massachusetts.
Whoa, Austin and Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So Cynthia, now you have led a pretty interesting life, I must say.
Thank you.
Well, so one thing I want to ask you about, you travel quite a bit. And one place you've traveled to that I think probably not a lot of people out there have ever traveled to is the Arctic Circle?
Above the Arctic Circle, actually. So my husband and I took a trip, and it started in a place called Kirkenes, which is the northernmost village in Norway. It is so far north, it is literally only 6 miles from Russia.
Ooh.
We got on a boat, and we were so far north of the Arctic Circle that it took 4 days and nights on the boat to get down to the Arctic Circle.
Whoa!
It was fascinating, absolutely fascinating. This was in the summertime, so it wasn't as cold as you might imagine it to be, but it was light the whole time, like 24 hours a day. It was light.
So, also, while I was doing a little research on you, I am a professional, I noticed that you and I have something in common.
Ooh, what's that, Van?
We both dislike okra.
Ooh, do I dislike okra?
When did you discover your dislike of okra?
When the first time I tried to make it.
Oh.
And it turned out so gummy that I tried to feed it to our Old English sheepdog, and the dog took one sniff of it and ran so fast into the other room, he slid on the floor and bumped his head into the wall. It was really bad.
Oh no!
But I kind of felt the way he did. That went out, and I've never tried to make it again.
Now I want to talk about your writing, because you are an author.
I
This
am.
is an author show. So, can you first tell us how long ago did you start writing?
I started writing for kids maybe about 15 years ago or so. So rather late in life, actually. I started with writing a picture book, which of course went no place. Then I wrote a novel, which also went no place. And along the way, I discovered that what I really need to write is nonfiction.
Oh.
I am not a fiction writer. I am not good at making up stories. What I can do is find stories and write about those. So I started writing articles for kids' magazines like Apple Seeds and some of the Keras Group kind of magazines.
Uh-huh.
And while I was writing one of those articles about music in the civil rights period, I learned about children, 3,000 to 4,000 children, elementary, middle school, and high school kids who marched and protested segregation in Birmingham, Alabama in 1963.
Wow.
When I was a senior in high school, actually. And they went to jail.
Whoa.
All 3,000 to 4,000 kids went to jail. And I was so astonished by that and so embarrassed that I didn't know the story that I wrote my first book about it. And that came out in 2012, just 10 years ago. And it's called We've Got a Job, the 1963 Birmingham Children's March. Then I wrote 2 books actually called Fault Lines in the Constitution, which is it's a middle grade book for kids about problems with the Constitution.
Oh.
And then that turned into a graphic novel, also called Fault Lines in the Constitution, the graphic novel, so that was fun. And I wrote a biography of Hillary Clinton, and I wrote a book about circus kids.
Whoa.
Circus performers who are kids, except they're not professionals, they're just kids. They're just kids. And they perform really professional level acts in programs called social circus. Ooh. So these social circuses, the purpose of them is to bring together kids not only who wouldn't meet, but who, if they did, might actually fight with one another.
Oh.
So one of the circus programs I wrote about is in Israel, and it has Arab kids and Jewish kids in it, and they perform amazing tricks. And the other one is a partner circus with theirs in St. Louis, which brings together a whole bunch of kids, including kids who belong to different gangs that are enemies of each other.
Oh.
And the kids perform these tricks. And you know, if you have somebody flying at you, you have got to catch that person.
Yeah.
Even if they belong to a different gang or a different race or religion, you have got to catch that person. And so they do. So that's Watch Out for Flying Kids. And my most recent book is called The People's Painter.
Yeah.
How Ben Shahn fought for justice with art. And it's about an artist who's not very well known, Ben Shahn, S-H-A-H-N, 20th century artist, a Russian emigre. He was a young immigrant as a child. So it's about immigration. It's about how he used art. He painted pictures. He took photographs to show how immigrants should be treated better, how people of different races should be treated better, and that sort of thing. And it just won a Seibert medal. And also a prize, a Golden Kite honor from the Society for Children's Book Writers and Illustrators.
Can you tell us, as a nonfiction writer, where does your inspiration come from? Like, how do the ideas come to you?
Well, sometimes they come, I mean, I'm always on the lookout for stories. Every single newspaper article I read, every time I listen to other authors or to, you know, the radio, whatever, I'm listening for ideas to write about. Sometimes publishers come to me and ask me to write a book, which is what happened with Fault Lines in the Constitution.
Oh.
Sometimes they pop out of nowhere, like a book I'm working on right now with a co-author, Jennifer Swanson. We're writing a book called Who Owns the Moon? And Other Conundrums of Exploring and Using Space. And that came about because it occurred to me one day, gee, I wonder if there's a book about space law. And so that's happening. It's going to be a combination of politics and science.
So, all right, we're almost out of time, but we're going to end with a game.
Oh, yeah.
And the game we're going to play today is Truth or Dare. So for truth, we're going to ask you this. What scares you the most?
What I've discovered scares me the most are the things that I write about.
Oh.
And I didn't know that when I started. But I realized after a couple of books that what frightens me is putting myself on the line the way those children did in Birmingham. What scares me is being thrown up in the air the way the circus kids are. But I got a chance to march with some of those kids as grown-ups. And I got a chance to try aerials and tightrope walking.
What?
Yes. And so I was able to confront my fears while doing research. And so one of the things I think about is, I mean, going to space, that would absolutely petrify me. So I realize I write about the things that I'm frightened about, and that's how I learn about them and try to overcome them in a safe way.
I love that. And you know, it makes me think that really the root of fear is misunderstanding or ignorance, not having all the information.
Ooh, I like
and so
that.
you are seeking out the information to alleviate the fear.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you,
Well,
Dan.
you said it.
Yep.
Goodbye.